What's going on, homies? So I don't hate writing drum fills anymore, and I don't think that you will either after you check this out. Okay, so this is a little track that I wrote live on stream. This was a part of the Produce Like Spirit Box song that I did. You could see it's basically done, but the next thing that I need to go about doing is adding fills and just adding variants to this, because what you're seeing here is the arrangement, so there's a lot of duplicate parts and stuff like that just to get the arrangement in check. So this is, for example, this part here, this is the end chorus, and so I'll play you a snippet of it and you're going to hear where I need to add a fill part to. So as you can hear, there's a blank spot, and in that blank spot, I need to add a fill. And so the best way that you can get a fill going quick is to break it down into the simplest of concepts. And the way that I went about doing that was thinking, how many spaces do I need this fill to fill up? And so what I would do is I would literally add my kicks the amount of times that I need that fill to happen. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is about right, unless you have a really long fill. Now, the next part, after you figure out how many spots, and just to confirm, what you can do is you can go back and listen. That sounds about right. So now that we have those filled in, literally, the only thing that you need to think about is what you want these 8 MIDI notes to play. Now, sometimes I'll like to start on like a snare, but a lot of times what I'll do is okay, I want to start on the snare. I don't know what to do for the rest of them. So let's just put them in random spots. So let's maybe leave this one a kick. We'll do like a high tom and then a low tom and then maybe a snare and then a low tom here, and then I don't know. You could see we kind of have a pattern here. Now this could have went any other way, and we can try it again here in a second. So let's see what this has gotten us. So that's a pretty good starting point, and we can stop there if that's what you were going for. However, we can take this a little bit further, and it's not that hard to. So let me show you here. So these are all 16th notes. However, if we start to add 30-second notes into this, you're going to see how much of a difference it makes. Let's just add 30-second notes to these two here, and let's take a listen. You can stop there, right there if you wanted to, and I think it sounds good. Again, we can take this further. Another way that we can go about doing that is adding more sort of linear sort of chops and even 30-second note triplets and 16-note triplets. What I found out was 16-note triplets sound the best in here. And so what I'll do is I'll keep this first half regular, and then I'll turn these into 30-second notes. Now, the cool thing about Ableton is you right-click and you go into the triplet grid, and we want 16th notes, and you can start to see that these aren't lining up anymore. It's because this turned into a triplet grid, right? And so let's delete these here. And so we'll do this. Snare, snare. This time it looks like we can add 3, and then we'll do a rack. Let's actually do this rack. Floor, floor. Let's hear what that sounds like. Pretty easy. Now, if you want this to sound a little bit more technical, you can. There's so many ways that you can go about doing that. You can do 30-second notes here. Now, it's pretty fast. I realize that the triplets are really fast, and so we will turn this off. We'll add... let's bring this back, and then I'll do a snare, snare, and we'll do kick. And then let's do something like this. Now these are 30-second notes again, so you'll start to hear the difference. Again, really fast. But again, it's only because we were in 103, and it's just really fast for 103. Now, there's other things that you can go about doing. You can make it sort of like a little bit of a linear fill, which is, no two things are playing at the same time, and a lot of it is mixed in with the kick. And just to kind of point this out to you guys, drumming is just lefts, rights, and kicks. That's all it is. Now, where you place those, that's where you're going to hear the difference, and you're going to get those dynamics, and you're going to be able to tell a story with the drums, right? And so that's, once you start to think about it that way, then writing these fills out isn't as hard or as crazy as you think. So let's do something like this. It's going to get crazy. This is 30-second notes, so it's going to sound crazy. You know what? Let's do a linear. So we'll do this. We'll do a rack here. We'll do a kick. This one here, we'll do another kick. And you can see that it's kind of like a little bit of a pattern here. And then we'll come back to 16th notes on this one. And then we'll just make a completely different part here. Okay, check it out. Let's say that we want to switch these spots. So I'll grab this first half and we'll put it here like this. And then we'll grab these. And we just switch the spots, right? Crazy. So you're going to start to notice that you're going to start and stop a lot, and you're going to kind of keep moving these around. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It really doesn't. It's just kind of to fill it in, you know, tastefully. Let's attempt 2 kicks there, and we'll do 2 kicks there. Let me show you what it sounds like soloed here. And that's pretty fast. That's a pretty fast fill. But again, it's possible, you know, and you wrote that. You wrote that crazy fill. And it wasn't that hard. It's literally just building it up, like I said. So one thing that I like to do, and I kind of showed you already, is I like to end with the 32nd or the 16th note sort of fill here. And so we'll do snare, snare, kick, rack, second rack, and then a floor. Now, the next thing that you want to think about is you're transitioning into the fill. Does my drum part transition into this fill fluidly? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out. Let's find out. So I think it's good. However, I think we can make it a little bit better. What I was hearing was maybe adding some kicks here. Adding these 2 kicks. And I think just by adding these 2 kicks here should be all that we need. Oh, let's turn off the 30-second notes here. And then we'll add those 2 kicks. All right, let's listen again. Nice. So the next thing that you need to do is, you know, let's say that you have a song that needs some fills. Just go through and start to find the spots that need fills, you know, and then just start to blank out. Like, for example, one thing that I like to do a lot is I will find a spot that might need a fill. I'll highlight it, hit Control E to chop it from this little MIDI section here, and I'll turn it red. And what that means is like, oh, I need a fill there or something like that. Like maybe there's a fill that needs to be changed here that's the same back here. So I would say, I would challenge you to go through your song and just where all the fills that you needed to add, but you didn't because you hate writing fills, it's not that hard. You've seen that, like, you just fill in the blank. First you make the blank, then you add the number of notes that you want or you need. You can put it on the kick or the snare. Then you start to move those notes around. I would start with 16th notes, then start to mess around with triplets and 30 seconds if your song tempo will allow it. And it's literally that easy, dudes. I promise you. Once I learned this, it changed the game. It changed the game so much for me. Like, I love writing fills. I love writing fills so much that I actually made a little bit of a fill pack. It's my first one. And so if you wanted to check that out, if you go to my Patreon page, you'll be able to get this Practical Fills Volume 1. You can see I made a Volume 1 because I plan on making a ton more because, again, making fills is so much fun. Now, if you wanted some quick fills to give you some inspiration on maybe some fills that you want to program in the future or whatever, check this out. This is really awesome. Now, you're not going to just get this when you sign up for my Patreon. You're going to get templates. You're going to get multi-tracks for songs that I've made. You're going to get all the MIDI for songs that I've made. You are also going to get some presets that I've made. There's a lot of cool things, especially if you're an Ableton user. There's this really cool thing. It is these drum labels when you're programming. Now, this helps out a lot, especially when you're writing fills and you're writing just drums in general. So again, if you're an Ableton user, I have them for all of the Get Good drum packs almost. And so, you know, if there's one that you want, I plan on doing Evasion, but if there's one that you don't see in there and you want, let me know. But dudes, that's all for me. I hope that you learned a ton. And again, don't be afraid of fills because they're not as scary as you think they are. But make sure that you like and you subscribe and leave me a comment letting me know if this really did change the game for you in terms of writing fills. Because again, I know that this was annoying for me and it isn't anymore. And I hope that it isn't annoying for you anymore and you just kill the game with it. But thank you again, dudes. I appreciate you and have a good one. See ya.